What if the next 3rd and 1 at Ford Field is decided by a back who isn't wearing Honolulu blue anymore? Picture it. Clock under 2 minutes, pads low, hat on a hat, and the kind of trench crunch that feels like a car crash in slow motion. You can hear the place 50,000 people inhaling at once waiting for a runner. Who knows where the crease lives and how to keep 2 hands through contact? Now imagine that runner in another uniform on a cold gray afternoon in Foxborough. That's the whisper bouncing around text threads and meeting rooms right now. Not fireworks. Not headline theater. The practical sort of move made by organizations that treat situational football like religion. Today's Lions News Fan Report is going to start with a question and end with an honest answer. But first, we're going to walk you through why this idea won't go away. Craig Reynolds is no longer a Lions. Let's start with what Lions fans 50 plus already know in your bones. There are backs who collect stats, and there are backs who collect coaches' trust. Craig Reynolds is the second kind. He's the guy who protects the quarterback's kids with a clean pickup on 3rd and 6. He's the guy you hand the rock to when the call is duo and the mission is drain the clock. He's the special teams demon who steals 20 hidden yards a month without asking for applause. You keep a pro like that because December has its own physics. The grass gets longer, the air gets meaner, and film rooms turn into lie detectors. Now, why would the Patriots circle him? Because they are the franchise that still treats 4-minute offense like a sacred drill. Read the front, ID the mic. That's the defense's middle linebacker. The back's first protection landmark. Take the right shoulder in pass pro and get vertical on short yardage without bouncing a winning rep into the arms of a free hitter. Because they live in games that tilt on details, especially early in the year while a new install settles and bruises stack up. A 3-back room on paper looks fine until one ankle rolls and a rookie misses a protection check. Then you want a grown-up you can plug in by Friday and trust on Sunday. Before we go any deeper, let's put Detroit's part on the table. The Lions didn't stash Craig on some back shelf. He made the initial 53 because Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes know a culture carrier when they see one. Gibbs is the switchblade. Monty is the snowplow. Craig is the foreman who locks the door at closing time and leaves the keys where the morning crew can find them. He isn't a volume back. He's an answer key. And yes, the initial 53 is a snapshot, not a promise. This is the window every year when phones stay charged and conditional day 3 picks get stapled to emails. That doesn't cheapen the player. It means G-Miz are doing their jobs. If you remember Barry's jump cuts and Jason Hansen's battles. With the win, you also remember the value of men who do the chores. Reynolds' value is in the chores. Watch the tape, and you'll see small truths. His eyes snap to nickel pressure. His feet set like a blocker before he leaks to the flat. He squeezes inside zone rather than trying to bounce into a corner's waiting arms. In a league that flips, field position on a single missed assignment, that profile is gold. And it travels especially to a place that has built 20 years of credibility on situational clarity. Let's climb into the rumors engine and look at how these things really work. No, this is not the kind of blockbuster that strips a roster. It's the quiet trade with a note in the fine print, a 2026 6 that becomes a 5th if he's active for X Games, a small cap nudge covered by the buyer, a handshake understanding that you're paying for reliability more than yards per carry. On Detroit's side, you don't even pick up when the caller ID flashes unless 2 conditions are met. 1, you believe your hybrid depth. Hello, young legs who can do some offense and a lot of teams can carry the extra snaps. 2, your special teams. Coordinator signs a permission slip without grinding his teeth. Anything less, you hang up. And you don't apologize. There's also the human math, something this city understands better than spreadsheets. You don't ship out a respected vet and pretend nothing changes. Locker rooms are ecosystems. When a pro who does the dirty work is shown the door for a scratch-off pick, the message has to be airtight. We believe in our depth, and will honor what you built by winning the rep without you. That's not PR. That's stewardship. Campbell gets that. The front office has been ruthless when needed, but never careless with the room's soul. That's why this rumor is both plausible and uncomfortable at the same time. Mid-show check-in. And yes, here's the confirmation you came for. Tonight's report is indeed about a potential move sending Craig Reynolds to the New England Patriots. Not a decoy topic, not a bait and switch. This is the scenario being discussed around the league because the fit is logical. The timing is historically when these moves happen, and the price point is the kind both teams can live with. If it happens, expect a conditional day 3 framework and an immediate role in Foxborough's 4-minute package. If it doesn't, expect Detroit to have said no for reasons that will show up the first time we're nursing a 7-point lead with 4:48 left in the fourth. Now let's get granular, the way Ford Field's old guard likes it. What, exactly, would New England be buying? Insurance on first contact Reynolds does not go down on arm tackles. A set of eyes in protection, he IDs cross-dog looks, 2 inside backers threatening the A-gaps, without panicking. A coach on special teams, he plays kick coverage with leverage and angles. The kind that keeps a punter's net average healthy in bad weather. No, that doesn't light up fantasy boards. It does light up a head coach's heart monitor when he turns the 4-minute script and sees 13 next to HB. Flip the page and ask the hard Detroit question. Can the Lions afford to lose that? On paper, depth exists. You can cobble those jobs together with a mix of young juice and veteran savvy. In practice, December does not care about your optimism. December asks, who is your adult in the room? If the answer is still Craig, the trade is a non-starter. If the answer can be replicated by a rookie who's ready in a practice squad elevation who plays like he's late for work, then a conditional pick plus cap clarity is a conversation, not a sin. There's schedule math hiding in here too. Early season. Road grinders are the exact weeks when you feel the absence of a reliable third back. The first short week. The first weather game. The first time the defense has been on the field for 8 more minutes than you budgeted and your offense needs to repay the debt with a clock-killing march. You don't notice backs like Craig until you suddenly do, and then you can't believe you ever thought of them as optional. Let's talk about the playbook, because this is Detroit, and we prefer wrenches to buzzwords. Fourth quarter, ball near. Midfield, 2-score lead, the call sheet shrinks. Duo double teams at the point of attack, and mid-zone, aim point off the guard's hip, become your best friends. Your back's job is not to be a poet. It's to find daylight, take what's there, and keep the clock moving. None of this makes him a star. It makes him necessary, which is precisely why another franchise would call, and precisely why this fan base feels a knot in the stomach at the thought of saying yes. Fans of a certain age who shoveled their driveway in the dark and then driven to a stadium anyway recognize themselves in players like Reynolds. They know that winning in this league is a chain of dependable links, not a string of highlights held together by marketing. If you're still with me, here's the part where we stare straight at the camera. Do I think Craig Reynolds to the Patriots could happen? Yes, because the logic lines up. A buyer that worships situational football, a seller with demonstrated depth, and a general manager who understands the draft capital marketplace, and a player whose game travels. Do I think it has to happen? No, because identity matters. And Detroit has spent 3 years building one that relies on trustworthy pros who don't flinch in dirty downs. The calculus is close enough to be real, which is why we're talking about it, and close enough to be painful, which is why the room will think twice. Now the conclusion: you deserve clear, plain, and respectful. As of this report, there is no official deal. This is a rumor, a plausible one, grounded in need, timing, and fit. It lives in that NFL space where prudent teams check prices and smart front offices take the call. My personal opinion? If the offer is a vanilla 6 that never escalates, keep him. protect the 4-minute drill. Protect the quarterback. Protect the standard. If the offer climbs to a conditional fifth with playtime triggers, and if the staff believes the hybrid depth can hold the water without springing leaks, then you at least pick up the pen and do the math. I'd lean toward keeping Craig through the first month, letting the room settle, letting the young guys earn trust. On tape, and then revisiting at the deadline when needs become truths. Because for all the pretty talk, football in this town has always been simple. Move a man from point A to point B against his will. Don't blow your assignment and win the snap that everyone else forgets the circle dot, so tell me, Detroit would. You trade the foreman for a lottery ticket, or would you roll into September with the adult you know? Which game from last year proves the third back mattered most? And when the clock dips under 2 minutes and the building goes quiet, whose hands do you want on the ball? The unknown promise or the guy who's already carried it through the storm?